Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Backpacking Podcast, brought to you by Outdoor Vitals, makers of Performance First Ultralight Gear. I'm joined today with Johnathan from WoodAllTrails. And a quick word from our sponsor. Right now, they have all trekking poles on sale. You heard it right. If you have the Live Ultralight membership, which is basically a savings account for your gear, you even get the $10 back for signing up in your gear savings account. And they add a little bit more every month, so you can cash it in whenever you want. They have 4 trekking poles to choose from, so buy yours today. I'll link them below. Now, I told you we are joined with WoodAllTrails here. Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thanks again for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. If you missed it before, Johnathan has been on the show. He's a friend of mine and has his own YouTube channel. And John Kelly, no, not the one that that lost in the Barkley Marathon. That's a different John Kelly. Maybe we'll have him on the show eventually. But my typical co-host, John Kelly, he is currently on vacay, and I will be on vacay next week. Our spring breaks are actually opposite this time. So joined here by Johnathan. And dude, a few things I want to talk to you about today. First of all, you just took a trip to Cranberry Wilderness, and then you told me you also went to a hammock hang. So I'm sure we'll get to hear about both of those things. And you are an expert. I'll try not to bust you up too much, but you're an expert on budget backpacking. We'll get into it, but he's got a couple things from Temu, like a pee bottle, to name one.
I wouldn't say quite trying to budget and just trying to, keep the wife from finding out how much I spend. So I just show her the budget stuff.
There you go. There you go. He was asking me earlier about some of the backpacks behind me here. We're full screen, so you're getting a full view today of the background. If things look a little bit different, that's because without John here, I'm having to produce the show, which means that we're not using our typical streaming platform, and you get a full view of us. And we got some people joining already. Stoned Ape Adventures, what is up, brother? How are you? Good to see you there in the chat. So, dude, you published this video, Cranberry Wilderness. I've been there. I consider it basically like a rainforest in West Virginia, and it did not treat me well. And from watching your video, it looks like it beat you up a little bit too, man. So what happened? You met up with somebody named Ned and somebody named Rich?
Yeah, so back last fall for the fall meetup, I think I told you that I had another planned trip, and it was just one of them ones that didn't fall into place. I didn't want to make a long trek up there, and I told him, man, we need to get back together again. So we started planning, and so I told him Cranberry. I just got done actually watching Syntax's last video on the Cranberry trip, and I was like, yeah, I want to see that plane crash. So he's like, okay, I'll get it together for you. Okay. He planned it all. I was just the tag along. I was the video maker, I guess you would say. I was the content creator.
I got you.
So it wasn't bad. Woke up really early, and I'd stayed up really late the night before, so I was running on about 4 hours of sleep.
And you had to drive all the way there?
Yep. Well, I met him about an hour and a half from the trailhead, and I rode with him there. And then I brought Rhea with me, so I had the dog as well. And I mean, it was great. I ain't gonna lie, but I was having fun until we got on trail, actually.
Well, let me interrupt you here for just a second. We got a couple more chats. Love hearing from you guys. Chicken Little Tricks, another frequent flyer here, along with Stoned Ape Adventures. Usually see WoodAllTrails online. It seems like you've been doing some live streams lately too, by the way.
Yeah, I've done a couple live streams, and I think I've actually seen Chicken Little on Ben's live stream, the new one that he's got going on. I think it's called the Backpackers Blitz.
Yeah, well, John had him on recently too, and they talked about all kinds of stuff, mainly the tariffs, because Ben has a cottage company, and the tariffs really affected him. So that's a great episode, pretty apolitical too, kind of just the facts.
Yep.
But yeah, Chicken Little Tricks, welcome to the show. And also Edward, welcome. Good evening to you as well. If you're watching this live, it is currently 6:46 Eastern Standard Time.
Edward, are you in the UK? I just want to know.
Yeah, could be.
Not too many people say gents here in the US.
Yeah, maybe we should start it. Maybe. So, dude, whenever you tell me about going to Cranberry Wilderness, I had no idea that I guess a plane crash had happened whenever we were there. Um, I guess I didn't really research it at all. I pretty much hopped in the truck with Mr. Backpacking with Jason, sir, and then we headed that way. And the rest is history. I mean, we're going to hear about your trip, but oh, by the way, Edward says Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah, Edward, if you want some local content, you may not be into this at all. I like them, but there's a guy called Tyrant Terminator, auditor. I don't know if have you ever heard of this?
no.
Okay. All right. Let me geek out for just a second. We'll get back to Cranberry Wilderness. But if you want some local content, Edward, it'd be really awesome if you ran into this guy. His name's Tyrant Terminator. And I've been on this kick lately of watching First Amendment audits. And basically, have you heard of it?
No, I haven't. But
No, not at all?
You got me intrigued now.
Okay. Well, like I said, some of y'all might not care any at all about this style of content, but the basics are these people go and video either with a camera or just their phone, and they upload the videos to YouTube, and they go to public places, usually federal property, like a post office, or could be a city hall or something like that too. Maybe a police station in the lobby, or even like a HUD housing office. So all these are like government buildings, or they just stand out on the sidewalks and video into places. And basically what they're doing is exercising their First Amendment given to us by the U.S. Constitution. And in particular, they're exercising the freedom of press. So usually what happens is, I guess they don't upload the boring ones, because the ones they upload typically have the police called, like they'll be in the post office, and the people at the post office will be like, "Hey, why are you recording me?" And he'll be like, "Well, we're exercising our First Amendment right. Y'all have a poster 7 in the lobby that says we have the ability to do this." And oftentimes they call the police, and the police are either they trespass them, which apparently is against what you should do, according to the auditor. Of course, that is what they would say. And then, or the police say, well, actually, you're exercising your First Amendment right, and that's totally fine. And they educate the people at the post office or the city hall or wherever they're at. So Tyrant Terminator is a local to Chicago, and I've been on a kick of watching him. He's like a 40-something-year-old big black dude with dreads, and he's kind of has a bandana similar to yours. Yours says "Why So Serious" for those just listening and not watching on YouTube or Spotify. But he usually has one of those on, some sunglasses, and I don't know. I think it'd be fun to run into him. But Edward, check him out if you want to see some local content. Also, J3 Hikes. Hello from Tucson, Arizona. And Edward says, I'll check it out. All right, beautiful. So anyway, how did you know about this plane crash? Is this something famous that I should know about that I have no idea about?
As you know, I'm pretty big into the YouTube backpacking and watching all of the. I'm a big trip person, so I've watched before. I think Syntax had a video several years ago. It's one of his first ones. I don't know how old it is exactly, but I seen that one first, and then he did a revisit of it. I think it was in January, I think, or February. Can't remember exactly, but he had revisited it as well. And then I was like, I want to go see it. So
yeah. And on the plane in particular, I saw from your video, you mentioned that there was a fatality, at least one fatality. This airplane, is it just some guy that has a hobby of flying and then he just crashed?
I haven't read too much into it, but from what I've figured, he was headed from he worked there in West Virginia, and he was a pilot, and he was flying back home to Virginia. And in the process of flying home, they tragically wrecked. Though they never found his body, so I don't know if they've ever confirmed him dead, but I know that they've said that more than likely animals probably
took the body.
Yeah.
And it's just one guy.
Yep, just one guy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I live near a lake, and we see these single, like, I don't know. I don't really know how to describe them. I'm not super into aviation, but it always seems like there's hobbyists that are flying over the lake and checking everything out. So I could definitely see that. You think it's all an elaborate escape plan, and he's really still alive, living in Tijuana or something right now?
I don't know. Maybe we need to look more into his background. Maybe he is.
A little investigative journalism. All right. Well, how many days were you out there for? Just a weekend?
Yeah, it was just the weekend. Started Friday about midday, and then out Sunday probably about midday.
Okay. And you're kind of like me, a little bit of a weekend warrior oftentimes.
Yeah, I don't get to get out I want to do some longer treks, but as of right now, it's just weekends.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it, man. You kind of live in the family life similar to me at the moment, and it's tough to get away. But Friday night, Saturday night, coming back Sunday is pretty typical. And what kind of food did you take, bro?
I actually had pulled pork sandwiches. I'd made pulled pork earlier that week, and so I just took what we had left over and brought pulled pork sandwiches for dinner.
Yeah,
and I had some, of course, my customary Airheads bites that I take on every trip.
Yeah, I'm more of a chocolate guy myself. We're taking a road trip down to Florida for our spring break, and my wife, she's like, "What should we get for snacks on the road?" I said, "Oh yeah, some chocolate." Now I got some fruit
Oreo
too.
balls.
Oreo balls, those would be delicious. Unfortunately, I was too lazy to go through the prep work, so that's not going to happen. But I did have her to get some chocolate. She brought home some Ghirardelli and some Hershey's bars. So I'm excited to eat that. And I don't know, I guess I'm going to gain weight on spring break. That's pretty typical. Yeah. Backpacking is the perfect way to work it off, though. Let's see, what else? I wrote down a few show notes that I found interesting from your video. So one thing, and I went through the same thing. Whenever I was in Cranberry Wilderness, it was a butt kicker, dude. For me, the main thing was mental because it rained the whole time, and that really like beat me up mentally, but physical as well. I saw you saying in there you thought it was going to be like Dolly Sods, and it wasn't. What does that mean? You thought it was going to be like Dolly? What is Dolly? I've never been to Dolly Sods. What is it?
Everybody's always told me that Dolly Sods is difficult. Like, it's hard backpacking. It's going to be like you're out there, you're going to be climbing, and that's what I've been told, and I've done it, and I didn't think it was as difficult as some of the stuff I've done in the Big South Fork, honestly. So when I done this one, I was like, it's in West Virginia. Everybody said Dolly Sods was hard, so I was like, this one can't be that difficult.
yeah. That's pretty reasonable, I feel like. And what do you think?
No, that's all I can say. It was awful.
By the way, Melissa, welcome. Unlikely Hiker. Nice to hear from you. Hope you and Ruby are doing well. And Stoned Ape Adventures chiming in here. Spruce Knob has an airplane wreck as well.
Planning that one in the works too.
Oh, you're checking out Spruce Knob as well?
We're gonna do what's the name of it?
Let's see. I actually want to Google that. A little on-air producing.
What's the name of the thinking of the creek?
Spruce Knob, West Virginia. There's an observation tower apparently. Seneca Rocks.
Yep, Seneca Creek. That's where we're gonna plan a Seneca. It's out Seneca Creek. The plane crashes out there, I think.
Let's see if we can find a picture of it, man. Unfortunately, I'm using StreamYard as our streaming platform right now. As I said, John is not producing the show. And, a little behind the scenes for you. We used to pay a subscription to StreamYard, and it could do a lot of stuff. And we switched to a different program. But unfortunately, the new program is only available on Mac, and I built my own PC. I love Mac as well, but you just can't use the program on the PC that I built. So I'm using the free version of StreamYard, which means I can't share my screen with you. But I can describe it to you. Looks like there's some caves as well. But I'm really interested in the plane crash because in your video, you showed the plane crash and you could literally see none of it's been cleaned up.
Yeah.
There was stuff laying everywhere. You could see like the chairs in the plane, the gear in the plane.
I don't know if you've heard of him, but his name is Hammock Mountain. His name, so I met him down at HangCon, but he actually goes there every year for, I guess he's search and rescue. I don't know. They do training out there every year. And then he's part of the group that has helped gather like all the stuff up and put it right there in that one area.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He actually commented on the video. I was like, huh.
So he's been there multiple times then. Yeah, quite a bit, it sounds like. Well, it's hard to really say a whole lot. I mean, it looks like a plane crash, Also, dude, These plane crashes in the woods, I know Melissa's talking about on here that the Adirondacks have a few plane crashes as well. I mean, they look rough. Everyone that I see looks rough because you got to think there's nothing there to stop the plane except for the trees. And you know that's going to totally demolish the plane. I mean, it's a very low probability of surviving a wreck like that. But Johnathan and I are looking at the plane crash right now. I got it on a separate screen. And yep.
Looks very similar.
Yeah, it just looks like an old crashed up plane.
Funny thing is, I started researching other plane crashes that you can hike to as well. There's several, I think, like Melissa had said, there's several in New York, a few in Pennsylvania as well. Like, it's unreal. Like, they're all right there in that West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York region where there's a whole lot of them.
Yeah, I wonder if they're mostly hobbyists or like you seen that movie Cocaine Bear? I haven't seen it, but I know the story of like it's drug smugglers and they drop the narcotics out or crash the plane or whatever. Yeah, I wonder what the most likely culprit is. I would assume weather is what's going to take your plane down the most.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, I think it got
Weather,
Kobe Bryant.
Weather, unless you're not removing before flight.
Yeah, could be. Let's see. Oh yeah, the dolly sod. So basically it was a butt kicker. What exactly about the trail would you say is the challenging part? Because you're out there for a few days.
So we didn't see the sign when we first went in. I don't know if it was there. I don't know if Ned or Rich had pointed it out, but when we got done, there was a sign that said basically the 2 trails that we took have not been serviced in a while, and you better be experienced and have GPS to get to use them.
Okay. All right. And did y'all, this happens to me sometimes. We'll be at the gorge and it's like it's rookie hour. And I totally get it. I used to be in the same boat, but you go out there and you're like, I'm going to go and the sign's going to tell me which way to go and blah, blah, blah. And then before you know it, you're standing somewhere and you're like, okay, I'm going to have to ask somebody because I don't have cell phone signal and I didn't download a map ahead of time. Now I download the map ahead of time, but you're sitting there with a map and you're like, wait a second, I don't exactly know how to read a compass and do, terrain association to figure out where I'm at. And then you're like, well, if I don't ask for help, I'm going to be stuck out here. Did y'all encounter anything like that?
Well, first off, there was no other people at all until we got to the end of the second day. So couldn't really use that as an option. So,
okay.
And then there was nothing on AllTrails. I'm just going to say that there was no trail whatsoever on AllTrails.
What do you mean?
There's no trail.
So you're saying you open the AllTrails app?
Yeah, there's no trail.
And y'all just walking through the woods bushwhacking?
Yeah. Oh, well, basically, he had Onyx backcountry.
Okay.
So we were using it, and every few often he'd be like, "Oh, we're off about 1,000 yards to the left." So
1,000 yards to the left. So y'all just walk along and check it every once in a while.
And no trail signs. Like I said, they had rocks like stacked up, like probably about no higher than maybe 12, 18 inches.
Yeah.
So you're looking for them, and if you don't have those, they had them. Like a lot of hunters use that orange tape. They had that in places, but some of it was so old that it had just fallen off, and you just had a little orange ring. Faded out orange ring. So it was definitely, and then trekking through everything, there was no trail. You're just trying to find your own way.
I got you. I'm curious in the comments, y'all let me know. I think we're going to get mixed reviews here, and you can answer live or you can answer if you're watching the replay. That's great too. But I'm curious to hear, what do y'all think about using them and the people that use the little trail markers? Because I think some people say, it's supposed to be like leave no trace out there. And what you just described is some like foot tall cairns to kind of help you along the way. Cause it is wilderness. So it's all unmarked. And sometimes people put those little orange tags like you just described, but that's not leave no trace. So I'm curious, y'all fill up the comments if you would, and let me know your opinion, just personal opinion. Do you advocate for people using the orange tags in an area like that? Or are you lean more toward I'm gonna leave no trace. Nobody should ever know I'm even there, even if it would help the next person along. And if you want to share publicly your opinion, I don't really have a strong opinion on it, but
well, I mean, I'm on the opinion of not getting lost.
Yeah, you're like, I was out there a week ago, and if it hadn't been for those orange tags and Onyx,
Yeah,
I would be sleeping in the plane crash if I ever could have found it.
I mean, yeah, that was the thing, finding it. It was actually it was actually easier finding the plane crash the second day than it was finding the trail the first day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That much bushwhacking?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just curious, man. When we were out there, and I've told this before, it rained so much that last day we just come out and it was like the heavens open up, man, in a good way. It was dry. It was the first time sun had hit this pale white body, and I soaked up all the vitamin D out there, man. It was all coming to me. And then we got to the truck and there was a flat tire and the brakes were busted. So it was pretty rough. Stoned Ape Adventures, he's reminding us, of course, wilderness areas, they don't really have signages or blazes. But he says that he sees a lot of reflective push pins all over the place. And you can clarify here, Stoned Ape, if you want to. I've done some night hiking, and I would assume what he's talking about is they put these nails in the trees, and if you shine your headlight on them, it reflects, just like the little stuff they put on your tarp or your tent or zippers.
We use them hunting. So
okay. Yeah. I don't know what it's called. Just like it's kind of like reflective tape almost. Yeah, basically.
Some of them have like it's actually like a plastic piece on the top of the nail that's reflective as well, kind of like a bicycle, little things on the front of a bicycle.
Oh, okay. I got you. Now it was snowy out there, man, is what I saw. And when I went, I don't remember what time of year, but obviously it's rain instead of snow. I was not expecting at all to see snow. You went in March. West Virginia is pretty far south. Was that a surprise to you? And do you feel like you had the right gear for it?
So
talk directly into that mic there.
So we was not expecting snow at all.
Yeah.
So it was about within 48 hours, Rich texted me and he was like, so expect snow. It's going to be a little colder than we was thinking.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do? What changes did you make, if any, once he told you that the snow was coming?
I did pack my 20-degree quilt and underquilt, top quilt and underquilt instead of the 40-degree. I was hoping that I'd get to test it out a little bit more since I'm trying to do the ultralight thing, but pack that instead. And then I don't own any boots, so I didn't carry any boots. I'm a trail runner guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing I changed. I didn't really change much of anything. I mean, I'm usually pretty well set up for it down to about 20 degrees. So
okay. And what I want to ask you about the boots trail runners thing here in just a second too. So don't let me forget. But on the 20-degree, first of all, you're in a hammock, so you got an underquilt or a sleeping bag, but you brought an underquilt. What brand was the underquilt? And you feel like 20 degrees is enough?
So I'm a hang tight fan. I've got almost all my top quilts and underquilts are hang tight. I've actually had that top quilt and underquilt down to 16.
Okay. Who is it that makes the hang time? I know you sell him at a hammock hang in Florida.
His name is Steve.
Steve hang time. Okay. Well, I had to check out his stuff. Jonathan's told me about some of it, and one thing that I found really interesting on there was he's doing it's like unsnaps basically, right? On the, maybe you can describe it better than I can.
So so my 20-degree set, the way he has it made, it's a double layer set. It's got an inside layer and outside layer, and that's how he gets it down to 20 degrees. So he's creating it to where the 40-degree is just basically the same without the insert. So what he's doing is he's making this insert where it has hooks on the inside, so you can remove them and put them back. And then he's also making on the insert like little buttons to where if you want it at camp, to be like wear it like, I guess, a camp skirt, try to stay warm, a little small camp blanket.
Yeah, you know, I always think about when I'm sitting there next to the fire and it's real cold. I could do like I can't remember the company. I have one that is a down blanket, but it snaps to basically kind of make a poncho. I think, man, that would be real nice right now. And then I think, well, I could grab my top quilt from my hammock, or if I'm in a tent, I might have a sleeping bag and I could stick my legs in that, but I'm always afraid that I'll melt it. You know, I'm going to be sitting so close to the fire that I'll melt it. So I never do it, but I do think it's a good idea, the snaps, making it multifunctional. Okay. So the boots and the trail runners. So you say you don't really wear boots much. You're more of a trail runner guy. Um, I'm curious to know if the snow really, how do I put this, made you really uncomfortable on the trail runners. Because before, what I've done, if I'm wearing trail runners and my feet are going to get wet, or I know it's going to be freezing out there or whatever, or maybe there's snow, I'll bring the sealskin socks, which for people that haven't heard them, they're basically waterproof socks. So you wear a liner and that prevents friction so that you don't get blisters while wearing the sealskins. So I'm curious, did you just go just raw dog it with the with the socks?
So I have merino socks. So I just every night, you get in. Actually, I left my camp shoes at home, so I was every night just having my feet right beside the fire, drying them out, and then trying to get my socks dry, my shoes dry. I brought extra pair of socks for each day, so I kind of figured that my feet were going to get wet.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish I'd have brought the camp shoes because we did have a water crossing at the end. It'd been nice to have the Crocs for that, but I mean, I've kind of come to the conclusion if I want to wear trail runners, my feet are just going to be wet. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah, that's true. Why don't you bring the camp shoes? The Ultralight Life?
No, I forgot.
Oh, you forgot. Okay, touche. By the way, Salmon Outdoors, nice to see you. Actually caught us live. Yes, you did indeed. Join right now with my current co-host, WoodAllTrails. If you missed it, John Kelly, JK, as we call him, is currently on vacay. And also, Melissa says waterproof socks are great in the shoulder seasons. Couldn't agree more. Kevin says sealskins work great. And Stone Date, I've been looking at Rocky waterproof socks. I'm not really sure what that means. Rocky water. I assume that's a brand. Have you heard of it?
I haven't heard of it.
Okay, let me give them a quick Goog here.
I mean, if it's Rocky brand, I know Rocky boots.
Yeah, I've heard of the Rocky boots, but I say you're right. Okay, Rocky boots, 11-inch Gore-Tex waterproof black gray socks. Okay, $60. They're in stock, free delivery if you spend $75. Ouch. It's a pretty price tag.
Looks like they got them at REI as well down there. It says out of stock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, out of stock, but at REI, $29.83. Okay.
There's those deals, man.
Yeah, we'll talk about budget here in just a second, and the deals will be on. Now, I'm curious about the sealskins. I bought mine a few years ago, so I can't remember how much they cost.
Probably similar.
Yeah, $55. It looks like Sealskins USA. Yeah, I'd say either one's fine. Stone Date. Oh, looky here, UGQ Outdoors. Yeah, that's probably for the price tag. $60 socks. I'm going to tell you right now, Jonathan, you do not want to melt your sealskin socks, bro. That's a pretty price tag. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. See if there's anything. Oh, yeah. One other thing I was wanting to ask you about the trip. I noticed that you're filtering water, but it was snowy out there. Did you worry at all about your filter freezing, or did you do anything to prevent? I don't know what kind of filter you got, but I usually take a Sawyer, so I had to watch and make sure it doesn't freeze. So sometimes if it's cold, I'll even put it in a Ziploc and keep it in my like if I got cargo pants, I'll keep it in the knee pocket. Mm-hmm. Were you using a Sawyer squeeze?
I actually just got the platypus quick draw in the mail, and I used that actually, and it didn't really get cold enough the first night to freeze it, and the second night I didn't have to put in anything, so it's still working great.
Okay, now how would you know if it froze or not?
I've got a temperature on my bag. It tells me the low each
night. Yeah, that's right. What do you remember? What brand those are?
It's on Garage Grown Gear. I think it's Thermoworks. Does that sound right?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the brand or not, but basically it's one of the thermostats or thermometers that you leave on your backpack. And then the next morning, if you want to, you can hit a button. It's like, oh, this is as low as it got today or as high as it got. John Groover. What up? Good afternoon. Hello.
Afternoon, John.
Still joined with John, just a different one. And my goldfish drowned. Says I pooped under Skirka's tent.
That's a
Oh,
smelly night's rest.
you probably did. He did. We had Andrew Skirk on here a few times, and I think we'll have him on again soon. But he tells a story about camping on. It could have been my goldfish drowned his poop. Yeah, Melissa said thermo drop, unlikely hiker. Yeah, and also the Port Privy. I'm assuming that's Thomas logged in under that name. By the way, if it is you, if you look over my shoulder. See I have reverse here on the camera angle, but you might recognize that backpack there, the Porta Privy. Not only did you make the poop hammock, but the backpack hanging on my wall here behind me in the middle with the camo. It's a little bit blurry because that's the way I have my camera set up on the focus, but yeah, you made that, bro. That's why you'll probably recognize it. By the way, absolutely love. I didn't tell you about this before the show. You was asking about it. That backpack has like the pocket under it, like where you set the backpack down. You have any packs like that?
No, but I'm looking at getting a hilltop pack, and that's one of the things I want is the bottom pocket, so I can just throw trash in it as I'm hiking.
Yeah, I usually use like the shoulder water bottle pocket holder. Sometimes I don't love it because I don't love the weight on my shoulder for that water because water's heavy. But in that little pocket there, that is the perfect place for my water bottle. You don't have to like reach behind. You know how awkward it is. You're trying to get back there and getting those hip belt, or not the hip belt pockets, but the rear pockets there. Yeah, not fun. Okay. What else from the trip that you were on? Yeah, the white one. That's right. And I also have another one. It's not hanging up here. I only had space to put one of them out, the Porta Privy, but I have the other one as well.
You need to
white
hang
with
the
green
poop hammock from the ceiling.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Like directly behind, like just hang it swinging.
Well, if you look up there, the room that we're in right now, the person that we bought this house off of, this is like an office space kind of, but they were using it for a kid's playroom, and they had a swing. You can see they drilled it into, I don't know what they're called. They're studs on the wall. Maybe they're studs on the ceiling.
You say a kid's room.
Yeah, this is a big kid's room now. But yeah, I think that'd be the perfect place for the Porta Privy.
Yeah. If you ever get up here and you need to use the bathroom, you already got it there.
Just put a bucket under me.
Yep.
What else happened on the trip that we didn't talk about that you think would be fun to share or interesting or funny, etc.?
Trying to think here. I already told you about the trail. I mean, so I will tell you this, so that first day, like I already told you that it was a long day. I'd already been up. So this whole trip was slow. I mean, we didn't get over 1.5 miles the entire trip per hour. Like that whole first day, it took us 8 hours, basically 8 hours to go 8 miles. So we stopped and had to put our puffies on and backpack probably about an hour in the dark. Just
in your puffy.
Yeah.
Did you sweat in it?
No, because it was cold. And I was already covered in sweat at that point, so I didn't care.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. So y'all just arrived so late that you had to do some night hiking?
Well, not that we arrived late. Well, we got at the trailhead around 12. We were figuring, 2 miles an hour, be done by 4 or 5 o'clock. No, it wasn't 2 hours. It was 8 hours of agony, basically.
Yeah.
I was at that point, I wanted to strangle Rich. I'm not going to lie. But I mean, all in all, it was a great time. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't plan for everything and things happen. So you kind of just got to roll with the flow.
Absolutely agree. Is there anything that you would change gear wise or planning wise or anything like that besides maybe arriving earlier? Or, I mean, you could train for a trip like that, but really, like you said, some things are unpreparable for. But is there anything that you would change?
I would double check because if I double checked, I wouldn't have forgotten my Crocs. But I mean, other than that, maybe I didn't really pack enough food. So I'm lucky that we got out that next morning pretty early because I didn't really bring enough food. And then I had the dog with me. And of course, she ate all of her food the first night. So I'm sharing with her the next day. Yeah, I made the mistake of pouring it all in the bowl and she just went to town.
And does she have her own pack and stuff? Or do you pretty much pack her food?
She has her own pack. The only thing I carry of hers is her bed.
Okay. All right. And just curious on the bed situation. And Melissa, if you're still on here, I'd love for you to chime in as well with Ruby. What exactly is the sleeping situation with the dog? Because you got a hammock, and I've seen everything from somebody letting a Chihuahua sleep on their chest in their hammock to people having their own little tent for their dog, to people sharing a pad in their tent with their dog, to the dog just laying on the ground under the tent, maybe on one of those accordion style pads, if you will. What's your sleeping arrangement with your pup?
So she has a pad. It's I'd say probably about 4 inches thick, maybe.
All right.
So she's got a decent little pad, and then she's got a coat that's fleece lined and waterproof as well. And I'm actually having Steve. He's making me a synthetic throw that'll attach around her neck, so she'll have that to lay over when she goes to sleep at night.
Wow, rock on, dude. That's a good setup. Unlikely Hiker says Ruby sleeps on a thin foam mat and short closed cell pad when it's colder, and she has a blanket too. Yeah, I still haven't taken dogs on. Well, I take that back. I was about to say I haven't taken dogs on trail. Actually, Petey, our dog that passed recently, and Golden Graham, I took both of them on trail with me. Actually, on a piece of the Sheltoe, not far from here, over by Flat Rock. I don't know the last time you drove through McCreary County, but Flat Rock it's like an 8-mile section to the next road crossing. Nothing super eventful happened besides we had the dogs out there and they were absolutely exhausted by the end of it. I had in my head that we were going to walk 8 miles or 10 miles or whatever it was. And I was like, we'll do like half today, half tomorrow. It'll be easy. 4 miles with the dogs today, 4 miles with the dogs tomorrow. We have a car at both ends. So if we have to, we could just turn around, or we can keep going and make it to the other car. Well, there was no campsite. And I had, it was me, my wife, and the 2 dogs. And we had them both on leashes literally the entire time. Not so much because of like the respect of walking past other hikers. I do like it whenever other people's dogs are on a leash if they're not in control of them. But mine was more of, I was afraid my dogs would just run off, man. And I'd be like, well, my dogs are gone to the woods. I guess they're just going to live out here. But yeah, we had this big tent and we had to have a proper site to even put the tent. And we had the dogs. So I don't remember how far we walked, 6.5, 7 miles that first day. And the dogs were dead, dude. I mean, I have never in my life seen Golden Graham. He's like a ball of energy. I mean, you heard him barking at you whenever you got here, earlier. And he laid down in that tent after we set it up and didn't get up the rest of the time. I was like, I think I killed him. And he finally, he didn't want to eat or anything. He finally got some rest and moved around a little bit, but it was absolutely brutal for him. But anyway, the other eventful thing that happened was we got to the end and my wife's car was parked at the other end of this section of the Sheltoe. And I was like, what is that? There was like some white specks on the car, and she drives a black sedan. And I go up to it and I'm like, oh, it looks like a scratch. And I looked and there was chips out of the window. Somebody had thrown rocks and I don't know if they were trying to bust the window and get in there. You would think it wouldn't be that hard to bust the window, but I never tried to bust car windows. But Mr. Backpacking with Jason, sir, if I remember correctly, told me a couple of weekends ago, it is hard to bust a car window. Even if you have like a baseball bat, it can take some force. So this could also just been some drunk teenage kids or something throwing rocks at the car, but
sounds more likely.
Yeah, we got the car painted, a year later or so, but it definitely beat up the door some, had some big dents in it from the rocks, and the window had chips out of it. But yeah, let's see. Melissa said that happened to Ruby after an 18-mile day. She was toast. Yeah.
That sounds about like Rhea. This last trip, those 8.5 miles that first day, I thought I killed her. She was shaking, and
really,
like she went and laid down probably for about an hour. She, like you said, she finally got up, started moving. I poured the food out and she ate every single bit of it. I was like, well, I guess I know next time to bring double the amount.
Yeah. Let her carry all she wants. Throw you a couple big steaks in there and let her really chow down. We had one trip where David Gray, y'all should definitely check out his YouTube also. It's fantastic.
Watched him today.
Yeah. And you got to meet him, at the off-roading trip that we took that Jeremy kind of put on All Things Outdoors. Super awesome guy. But anyway, he always seems to be bringing his dogs on these adventures. I think one of them passed recently, but the other one's still alive. And dude, one time we took him and same deal. They didn't even walk that far, but his dog had an abscessed tooth. And I guess it's kind of going into shock a little bit. It was snowing that night. The dog was just laying there shivering, and I don't know. He had to leave actually to take the dog to the vet. So I really want to take Cece, our new dog, Petey's replacement, if you will. He's grown up. He's just a pup. He's a full-bred border collie.
You like it?
I think so too. He's a nonstop ball of energy, and I think it'd be a good trail dog. And he's super smart. So maybe we can take both the dogs, and we'll be good to go. I think I'm going to get him fixed first, though.
Well, mine's all fixed. So,
I'm hoping if I fix him, it'll slow him down a little bit, but I doubt it.
It might. I'd also give him. Rhea was like that, and it took her like about almost 3 years before she's actually calmed down. So
okay. Well, the owner of the dog gave me all the paperwork and stuff for like the family tree. She handed me this paper, and it had like a family tree a mile long. And I was like, first of all, I'm not planning on breeding him whatsoever. I'm going to get him fixed, and he's like 7 months old right now, 8 months old. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I mean, you have the paperwork, but I was like, I'm just going to stick this in a filing cabinet.
You can register him, I guess. I don't know if they register him or not, but it's basically just paperwork saying this dog's full-blooded.
Yeah, but what's the point? If I'm not going to breed him,
I know you don't really need it, but I mean,
yeah, just to say that I have it.
They just give it to you as customary, I guess.
Okay, I got you. All right. Anything else Cranberry Wilderness wise before we? I think we'll wrap up the show with a little budget friendly talk. And maybe, I don't know if you pooped while you're out there. We'll save that toward the end of the show. But anything else about Cranberry Wilderness?
No, that's about it, man.
Okay. So just to give you all a quick history of me when it comes to backpacking, started like 2018 and has slowly accumulated, as y'all can see behind me, backpacks. And I have like a little gear room that we're sitting in, and little recording studio kind of. And I started out with basically nothing, just borrowing people's gear, and then started going on trips. And I was like, wait a second, I love backpacking. And so then since it's one of your hobbies, you start putting a little money into it. And you usually the first thing you buy, or the first thing I bought, was a nicer backpack. I got an Osprey Atmos 65 liter. And then you're like, well, I'm getting cold out here. I don't need to bring this uninsulated pad. I think I might reach a little deeper in the pockets and get me something nice. And then you're like, well, I got a pad that's warm. Let me get a better sleeping bag. And then slowly over years, so that's been 7 years now going on, I've gotten all this gear. Now, I'm very thankful and happy that I had a YouTube channel and this podcast, and that's really been an avenue for me to discover new gear and try out new gear. Because, for full transparency, a lot of these companies will just send you the gear, or if you work with them, they'll give you the gear in exchange for you collaborating with them or advertising for them or whatever you want to call it. And some of the gear, or a lot of the gear, that's how I got it. And so I've been very fortunate to be blessed with that avenue. So you also you're headed down that same track. You got a YouTube channel, you're gaining traction, gaining subscribers, keep putting out content, just keeps getting better and better and better. But right now, I assume that you are paying for a lot of this gear. And as you alluded to earlier, sometimes when you're married, your wife or husband might not love that this hobby can get a little bit expensive. So we've talked privately about buying stuff on a budget, etc. And I started out doing the exact same thing. So I wrote down a few tips that I had for backpacking on a budget. So don't steal all mine, but I'm curious and I would love to hear from the audience as well if y'all have any advice on this for backpacking on a budget. Could be gear wise, could be travel wise, could be planning wise, food prep, whatever you have, whatever advice you have to share, we'd love to break down here on the Backpacking Podcast. But where would you start at on that bus?
Looking for the sales. That's what I always do. It's a particular item I know that I'm looking for, especially as I went more into the ultralight realm.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's going to be expensive. So item I'm looking for, I'll look like, let's just say down puffy, and then I'll search Google, and then I'll click sale, and then I'll find the ones that have the best sale. And that's how I got the Rab down puffy that I found. I got it basically like 60% off. Okay.
So you're a Google kind of guy. Yep. Type it in there and search around.
Yep.
Man, I gotta be honest. I'm not a big fan of shopping. I got a friend at work, and she does couponing. And I tell her, gosh, I would rather pay double than to cut out all these coupons. Or like she goes to the Kroger app and she's like, oh, click and cut the coupon, cut the coupon.
Yep.
She's like, I check it every week, or I go on Fridays and I get extra reward money. And I'm like, I just cannot, in my brain, just don't have the power to do it. And then she showed me the app. And she's like, yeah, I got $184 just sitting here on the app waiting for me to spend at Kroger. And I'm like, hold on a minute.
I got some groceries I need.
Yeah. She said, well, you get double cashback rewards on Friday if you grocery shop on Friday. And then like double points on your fuel and 50 cents off. And
this lady needs to give a class somewhere.
Oh, she's an expert on couponing, man. She's taught me everything I know when it comes to coupons. But to get back to the backpacking realm, like you said, looking for the sales, I put as my number one tip on here, never pay full price, specifically for soft goods. And what I mean by that is things like puffy jackets, like you mentioned, there is a huge markup on that. I mean, these companies, there's a reason why sometimes they can put it on sale for like 80% off. And it's because there's such a big markup on some of it. Now, some of it's not. Like, for example, we had, I don't know if Chad's still on here or if this is his wife, Brittany, on here, but they popped on UGQ Outdoors, an awesome backpacking company. They make a lot of great gear. And I've been fortunate enough to travel up to Michigan where they're located and tour they've moved shops now, I think, but I toured their old shop, which was, if I remember correctly, their new shop at the time. And they basically showed me, they're like, hey, we're going to make your underquilt. Or maybe it's a top quilt. I think it was my underquilt. Yeah, it was my underquilt. They're like, we're going to make it. We're going to let you film it. So y'all can actually go on my YouTube channel and check out the video if you want.
Just have to watch that one.
Yeah, just type in UGQ Jeremiah Stringer and you'll find it. But excuse me. Long story short, I was like, man, this comes with a hefty price tag. And he's like, well, you're getting $950 filled down. And I was like, well, what's that mean? And he's like, well, I'll explain it to you. And he went through, basically the density, and you're paying more because the concentration of the feathers, they're, how do I say it? They're taking up more volume. So you get more bang for your buck. And he said, if you're going to take I was buying a 0 degree with overstuff at the time. And he was like, $950 would be a great fit for this because you're overstuffing and it's a 0 degree. So you're already using a lot of down in there. And you want it as good quality as possible because 0 degree, that's going to be a heavier quilt just by the sheer nature of more material in there. And I said, okay, that makes sense to me. Why is it so expensive? And he's like, because $950 is about as good as you can get. They some of them call it $1,000. And he's like, he told me how much they had to pay. They had to like buy it in bulk or something, buy big boxes. Then they had a vacuum hose that they stuck in one end and it shot out the other into your underquilt in the baffles. And I was like, okay, I get why this one's so much. But that was a very specific purchase of mine. A lot of times, if you're just getting, a jacket, like you said, or some clothing, or maybe not a backpack, you can find sales on those. But, soft goods, a lot of times you can get a great deal on them. Yeah. Anything to add to that?
No. I mean, like you said, just looking around, trying to find the sales.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, let me give one then. I put, and this is a bit hypocritical. Okay. So take this with a grain of salt. You're going to have to use your own judgment on this, but I put buying gear twice, buy nice or buy twice, buy once, cry once. So there's going to be differing opinions on this. Oh, by the way, John Kelly, the JK, my former co-host, those boys look good. Yeah.
How's the beach, John?
Yeah, tell us
about it. Did you go to the beach?
I don't know if he went to the beach or not. I can't remember. But I'll tell you what, it's 40 degrees here today and cold and windy. I said I was at work and I had like my hour planning period. And sometimes I go for a walk around the track, just clear my head, maybe read a book or something. And today I looked at my watch and it said cold and windy. And I said, nope. I went and sat down and watched a YouTube video. Yeah. But also, LOL. He's at Trail Life. Oh, okay. All right. Rock on. And then Kevin, we were talking about UGQ. UGQ has an amazing down supplier. The quality of their down is top notch. I totally agree. And Stone Ape Adventure says no such thing as cheap 0 degree. LOL. Yeah. Yeah. You're totally right. So back to my point, the buy once, cry once. Basically what I mean by that is if you are to a stage in backpacking where you know what you want, I'm not talking about I'm just getting into it, just getting my feet wet, and I'm experimenting. And if you do drop a lot of cash, maybe you can resell that on Facebook Marketplace or one of these groups or something. But I'm talking about, you know that you want this. It's going to be a good quality purchase. You could just swallow your pride and say, I'm going to buy this super expensive thing and just be done with it. Excuse me. Now, the risk is, what if you don't like it? What if you get a Z-Pax duplex and you're like, this is the worst tent I've ever seen? And then you paid $900 for it. You're going to take a loss on that.
Yep.
So that nothing comes without risk or trade-off in life. But I think that if you know what you want and you're willing to eat the price tag, even if you got to save money over time, sometimes it's better to, instead of buying 8 cheap rain jackets, just spend $200 on a really good one, and it lasts 3 times longer than the 8 do all combined. But that's just my advice. I'm not saying it's the best advice. Go ahead. I know you got a rebuttal.
You already know I disagree with that because I'm the type of backpacker who has evolved over time.
Mm-hmm.
First, I was just a overnighter. Didn't need a whole lot, and I think I've told this before. I had a 40-liter backpack that probably weighed 50 pounds, and it's just from one night. So I mean, I always keep it within a budget. So I look for the sales, and I know there's items that you just can't do budget at all.
Sure.
So I mean, there's that. I mean, usually it's going to be your pack, your shelter. There's some things that you just want to spend more money on.
Like shoes. You might want to get a good pair of shoes. That's your point of contact with the ground. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where I'm going to disagree because, I mean, I like to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
And if I like it, I'm going to buy a better version of it. And I've done that with my backpack each time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now on my 3rd backpack, and it's probably going to be my final backpack for right now. I do want another backpack, but for right now, that one will do.
Well, sometimes you get tired of your backpack too.
It's just like you said, it's a hobby. And when it's a hobby, I'm a gearhead. I'm a gear junkie. So, I mean,
we got a few people chiming in here, by the way, on what we're talking about. JK agrees with me. You end up spending way more when you go cheap in the long run. Could be. I think it depends on what it is and how long you use it. Also, Ruben Hikes, a guy that we both know there. Hola, welcome to the show.
Afternoon, Ruben.
Also, this adds to what Melissa said earlier. She said it takes lots of trying to find what you love, because
I have to agree with her.
It's tough to drop a lot of money on gear whenever you start out because you don't really have a point of reference for what you like. It's like perfect way to articulate it.
And I'm getting to the point now where I know what I like, and it's going to get more expensive as the gear goes on.
Seems like it takes years, though. It takes years and like hundreds of trail miles, maybe even thousands, I don't know, before you really know. And even like testing out the gear, like this is one of the issues with YouTube and working with companies is oftentimes they'll want you to advertise a product and you're like, well, hold on a second. I can't advertise it. I mean, you could if you wanted to. It depends on your ethics and morals. But they'll say, I want you to advertise this product. And you say, well, I got to try the product. And they're like, well, yeah, but we have a timeline for when we want you to put this out. And you're like, well, I guess it's not going to work then, because one thing you have to understand is all you have is your credibility. And secondly, you want to know if you like the piece of gear or not. Like, for example, a backpack, maybe they're wanting you to do a frameless and you like framed, and that's pretty much all you rock, and you've tried frameless and you know you don't like it and your gear's too heavy. Well, that's not going to go over well. You know, and it's also not very authentic. So why would you do that? To make a quick buck? Well, that's great until you try to make your next quick buck and it all of a sudden goes away.
In all honesty, if a gear company asked me, I mean, I'm going to give an honest review.
Yeah, of course. You know, but it does take a lot of time. Like
a lot of testing and trying and finding out what you
Mhm.
like, and that's why I'm like spend less first, and then if you know you like it, then spend the money.
Yeah, I agree. And look at this comment here. Don't skimp on the big three. Buy once, cry once. So that'd be your sleep system, your tent, your backpack. Yep, very important.
I can't say that I did that, J3. I definitely didn't buy once, cry once.
Well, I feel like we all say buy once, cry once, but we've all cried many times. Every time I'm about to open up my back pocket and get a new piece of gear, yeah, you're crying again. Greg Morton Outdoors, hello. Everyone here is a geardo. Ruben Hike says buying gear is addictive. Unfortunately, so it is.
I'm starting to get into the custom gear now. That's what starts getting money.
You go down that path, you really get to customize it. You get exactly what you want, but it's not free.
No, not at all.
Also, Kevin's got a good description of it. He calls it gas. That's gas, gear acquisition syndrome.
I get gas a lot.
Yeah, and also, Greg Morton says your gears and wants do change over time. So that is, like Kevin said, that is a good point. That 20 years from now, I might not bring an Osprey. I might bring everything ultralight because my knees might be so sore and beat down that out of necessity, I can only carry 12 pounds.
And you'll have all that on hand because you keep all your gear.
Well, it's here. It's doing well so far, but we'll see. Let's see. What else do I have here? Oh, repair your broken gear and make your own gear. So repairing your broken gear, pretty self-explanatory. If you can repair it, it can save you some money. And oftentimes, if it's a reputable company, they will repair it for you. Like Osprey has a really good policy where you could literally like buy one of their backpacks. They may have changed it now, but last time I checked, you could like literally buy one of their backpacks at a yard sale or a garage sale or something, and it could be totally blown out, and then you just mail it to them. Now, if I was Osprey, I'd want proof of purchase from the original owner. And then, but I would assume that most people don't send their stuff back. Like, let me see if I can check real quick, but I'm pretty sure Darn Tough's return rate is like 1%. So, Darn Tough socks, you've heard of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Darn Tough socks. I love their socks. But they have like a policy where if anything happens, you could just send them back. Yeah. It says this is Google's AI. All right. So who knows? The link.
The
link is to Darn Tough's website.
I know some people have had the same pair of Darn Tough socks for years.
Well, they're a great company. I think they're up. Is it Vermont that they're in?
Sounds right.
Maybe New Hampshire. It is Vermont. Darn Tough's, fewer than 1% of their socks they sell are returned. So that's pretty good, man. And you're going to pay for those socks. I'd say they're $25, $30 now. I don't know. Last time I bought them, I think they were.
That's one of them buy once, cry once.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have to. I was going to see if I could see how much pair of socks was. $25. Nailed it.
Man.
So sometimes the companies will just take care of it for you.
A lot of your cottage companies do that too. They're very, you might pay more for the gear, but they stand behind their gear a lot. That's what I like about cottages.
Yeah, I totally agree. They take a lot of pride in their gear because they're literally pouring their time and sweat into their gear. Also, hello, Doc Watson, coming in at the tail end of the show here, but it's good to see you live. I don't know if it even sent out a notification. I'm not going to lie. Johnathan popped in here. We had planned it, but we didn't announce. It's kind of a pop-up live stream. Didn't know if we were going to go live or not, but here we are, rocking and rolling live. So repair your broken gear if you can, and then make your own gear. And a lot of people, that scares them off. They think, make my own gear. That means I'm going to have to learn how to sew. I'm going to have to go online and figure out blueprints to make a backpack. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about low-level, entry-level stuff that you can do that would save you money, but improve your backpacking situation. Let me give you an example of this. So Dixie from Homemade Wanderlust, awesome channel on YouTube. And I saw one of her videos a long time ago. She made her own pot cozy or koozie. Maybe it's pot koozie. kind of like you put an adult beverage in.
I've always been told beer koozie, so maybe pot koozie.
Yeah, maybe pot koozie, but basically it's like a little pouch that your cook pot is in, so that stuff can rehydrate in it, or it just keeps it warmer for longer. Well, believe it or not, you can go to any do-it-yourself store like Lowe's or Home Depot, and you can get reflective bubble wrap, like silver insulating material.
For, air conditioning, I think.
Air conditioning. Some people put it in their garage. Some people wrap their hot water heater with it. It's
Mylar wrapping, kind of like what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mylar, but it's a different material than Mylar, I think. But y'all can go to Lowe's and ask for it, and then you can get some of that silver tape, and you can make your own pot cozy in 20, 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden, you've improved your situation for minimal expense and minimal weight gain in your backpack.
I've actually made not a pot cozy, but a cozy to put your rehydrated meals into.
Yeah, like a pouch.
Yeah, a pouch. And then I've actually have the ones that I framed it off of the pouches. I kept those pouches to reuse, and I actually reuse the pouches over until they get to where I can't use them anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's just another example of how backpacking on a budget. There's small things you can do, like reusing the pouches.
Yep.
Or the dehydrate. You're saying after you've eaten the dehydrated meal, you take the.
I actually portion them out. Is what I do, because especially if I get the 2 serving ones. And I was using sandwich bags, but I just bought reusable bags to cut that cost as well. So I'm not using as many bags anymore. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll take them out and I'll portion them out, especially the 2 serving ones, and then those bags I'll reuse because they'll fit perfectly inside the koozie.
Okay.
And then I'll just pour that into there and then put my water in there.
Yeah, I was thinking, because you shared on here before that you had like a weight reduction surgery. What's it called?
I had bariatric surgery.
Bariatric surgery, yeah. And that really limits your portion sizes. So you would be wasting actually probably. I mean, you're making some of your own dehydrated stuff, but if you're buying freezer-dried meals and eating those a lot, you'd be wasting hundreds of dollars over time on backpacking.
I can only eat about half of it, and that's about it. And that's if I'm starving.
Yeah, and see, I can eat the whole thing. I probably shouldn't eat the whole thing. I should probably be portioning it out like you do, because they are like 800 calories. But when you're out on the trail, man,
I always say calories in, calories out. I mean, when you're on trail, it don't even matter because you're just burning so much.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's see, a couple other comments here, and then I think we might have to talk poop for a second. Oh, a controversial take here. Keep outdoors. Alcohol stoves aren't any good, though. Oh, I wonder who is. Oh, Kevin was talking about alcohol stoves. We have some drama in the comments. This could be our next great poll on the podcast: alcohol stove or gas. I may have to
make one and try it out, because I've seen people make them, but I've always, when someone tells me on a video that it took them 10 minutes to get their water boiling from an alcohol stove, I'm like, yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, I get it, man. I have numerous, and you feel free to borrow one. Any gear over here that you ever want to borrow, let me know. You could take it. But the alcohol stoves, it takes longer. The one thing I don't love about it is I could spill the alcohol. Like, I keep it in just like a bottle, like a little tiny Aquafina bottle. And I'm afraid I'll spill that out somewhere. So I kind of keep it on the outside of the pack. But it takes longer. It's not great in the wind. It is light, but also usually it's like an aluminum can or something. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty rough on stuff. So
yeah,
I could definitely see myself smashing that. Like, I've stepped on my stove before and totally ruined like the little arms on the gas powered stoves. I digress. Let me see what else we got in here. Smoky Dukums. Hello. First time in the live streams. Well, welcome to the show. Says you bought a sewing machine and you've been diving into learning. That's a great way to conquer it, man. We had a home ec class at school and I became friends with the teacher. She's retired now, but I said, you know what? Can I borrow one of your sewing machines from class? She's like, sure. We have some of these from like the 80s that we don't use anymore here in the storage closet. Do you want one of those? And I was like, well, I'd rather have one of those top of the line, tax funded ones that y'all use in class, but I'm willing to settle. And I brought that home and repaired multiple things, simple stuff Like, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but the camping chairs you buy at Walmart, they come with a sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like the little handle on the side. Well, what happens to me is I try to shove them in there and it always like rips one of the seams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could either buy a new chair or just use it without the bag, or you could repair it. So I took that sewing machine and then I started watching videos and I was like, hold on a second. Also, you've lost weight. You went through a weight loss journey as well, and you get to buy new clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets expensive, especially if you lose a lot of weight. Because then all of a sudden you didn't buy one set of new clothes. You're like on your third closet of clothes.
That's exactly how it happens with bariatric. You lose over time. So
Mm-hmm.
you buy a set and then like 3 months later, oh, time to go to another set.
Yeah, they just don't fit anymore. And it's a good problem to have. You're getting healthier and stuff, but your clothes don't exactly fit. So what I started doing is like tapering my shirts in. And so instead of buying a new one, I could kind of alter them a little bit. I wasn't very great at it. So I started paying somebody to do it for me. Should do it for like $8 a shirt. And I was like, yeah, this is going to work better. Let me see. Anything else in the comments here before we see if you pooped on yourself? Okay, let's see. Alcohol stoves, great for the weekend. And a bunch of people talking about alcohol stoves. Also, somebody asked what time the show started. And I don't know what time it started, but we're an hour and 6 minutes in. So you just do the math there. Join, for those that missed it, join with WoodAllTrails tonight, as John does have the week off. He's on vacay, and next week our spring breaks didn't align. Normally we would record a show together and just release it, record it privately instead of live streaming and release it. But thank you again, Mr. WoodAllTrails, for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing here. Did you win? Are you familiar with the Don't Poop in the Woods game?
I'm very familiar.
Okay. And which side of the fence do you sit on, sir?
I sit on the same side as Mr. Backpacking with Jason.
Oh, you enjoy the go in the woods, you're saying?
At least once when I'm there.
Okay. And what did that look like for you whenever you're headed out to Cranberry Wilderness? For those that missed it earlier in the show, we talked about your recent trip to Cranberry Wilderness. So you saw the plane crash and got to experience some snow and got your feet wet. But what about pooping?
So didn't really have to poop until the last morning. So
okay.
So I'd made it almost the entire trip. So, but then it just hit all of a sudden. So that morning I was actually halfway putting my hammock up, and I look over at Rich. I'm like, I gotta go.
Took off in a half jog.
Yep. Luckily my pack was right there and I could grab the dookie bag real quick.
Yeah, you got the spooky dookie bag.
Yeah, that's so I can remember it. Bright orange. Spooky.
Is it Hilltop Packs? They make that?
Yep, of course.
Yeah.
So I get to running, and of course Rhea is with me. She's running right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to kick her to keep her from following me. And
that's his dog, not his child, by the way. That's his dog.
Not trying to kick her and her, but just trying to keep her from following me.
Yeah.
That didn't help because she still followed me, and I get about halfway there, and I'm already pulling my pants down, and I see the perfect log. I'm like, yeah, that's the one.
Are you a butt hangover kind of guy, or you hold on to the tree?
I am a butt hangover kind of guy, and if I can find a nice mossy log,
yeah. It's like a toilet seat out there.
Oh, and I found the perfect one.
Okay. And is that all she wrote?
I didn't make it.
Oh, no. No. What? You didn't go in your pants, did you?
No, but it was right there. I didn't get to dig a cat hole or nothing. It just happened.
Well, sometimes you got to dig your cat hole afterward, and there's not a whole lot you could do about it. Yeah, the spooky dookie, man.
That one was definitely spooky.
Oh man,
just glad the dog wasn't right behind me because she would have been covered.
Oh dude, can you imagine? What a terrible situation. Yeah, that'd be rough.
I'd have threw her in the back in the where the waterfall was and make her take a bath. That's what I would
have done. Give her a full-on bath out there. Just don't tell those guys to filter their water downstream.
Yeah.
That could be pretty rough. All right, man. Well, had a great time with you. Feel like we covered a lot. Everybody, awesome job in the chats. Love reading your all's comments. If you are watching a replay of the show, would love to hear your thoughts on the alcohol stove versus the gas stove. I'd like to read some of those. I know that's a pretty controversial topic.
Ooh, gas stove.
But anyway, appreciate y'all joining us. We'll be here. John will have the show next week, and then after that, it'll be just like old times. John and I bringing the show to you,
and I can watch from the garage.
Absolutely, man. All right, folks. Hopefully you've enjoyed. For myself and WoodAllTrails, we'll see you on the next one.